Good evening. Welcome to West Covina City Council. Today is October 6th, 2020. Right now, 7 o'clock sharp, and our city meeting in order. And tonight, invocation will be led by Pastor Julian Lute from West Covina Hill Seventh-day Adventist Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by the Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado. All rise, please.
Let's pray. Loving Lord, tonight there are leaders of the community who are making decisions about how to best care for its citizens. Lord, I pray that you will grant each person in this room the wisdom that they need to make the right decisions, and also all of the information and resources that are necessary to do this well. Lord, I pray that you will pour your blessing on this city, and that you will make this a place where your will is done. In your name, amen.
Amen. Have seat, please. And Assistant City Clerk, roll call, please.
Good evening, Councilman Castellanos.
Here.
Councilman Johnson. Here. Councilmember Shoemaker.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado.
Present.
Mayor Wu.
Here. And the City Attorney, do you have anything to report from the closed session?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. With regard to item number one case, on a vote of 5-0, council directed staff to initiate litigation. The identity of the defendant will be disclosed upon filing of the complaint. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to move to presentation. Tonight we have 5 presentations. And the first one, this is our honor for our State Senator Lin Chen, and came to our City Council meeting. So, okay.
So good evening, West Covina and Honorable Mayor and council members. It is truly an honor for me to be here tonight. I'm Senator Ling Chang, and I represent portions of LA County, Orange County, and San Bernardino counties, and proud to represent West Covina. And I know because of the global pandemic, we weren't able to honor the friendship cities between West Covina and Tainan back in May. So I am here today to do that. And in fact, I am an immigrant from Taiwan, and I came here when I was 3, but I'm actually from Taipei, and Tainan is down south. But anyways, I really wanted to commend you for stating that Tainan is a friendship city. And I do have an American flag, as well as a certificate of recognition in honor of friendship cities, West Covina and Tainan. Thank you for your efforts to encourage goodwill between the United States and Taiwan.
Thank you so much, okay, Senator Lin Chen. Okay, and maybe people kind of confused, okay, why our very busy senator will come over here to West Covina City and try to, give the city recognition. I think I want to explain what happened. Okay, and Taiwan, in January of this year, they came with a 16 council member, and I've been fortunately been invited to greet them due to Taiwan is my parents' birth city. Oh, wow. Yeah, so I said I better to be there because my parents born in that city back in 19th century. No, that's kidding. Okay. Very recent. I'm still young. Okay. So anyway, and I went to greet them and talk to them, and I basically told them, I say, it will be my honor to have Tainan to be a sister city, friendly city with West Covina. Okay, because Taiwan is a magnificent place. Okay, and Thailand is the capital. South side is like a Kyoto of Japan with the culture, with everything. So anyway. Went back and talked to the mayor, and that's how we corresponded and become, a sister city. We changed the signature with the doctrine and exchange to each other from our city and the mayor of Tainan. And they even invite us, okay, supposedly in November, okay, to visit Tainan, okay, to see the sister city, but due to pandemic. And they say, I have to stay in the hotel for 14 days. I say, I pass. Okay, forget it. I'm not going to quarantine myself 14 days in the small confinement in of hotel. But anyway, it's my honor to have a chance to be a sister city of Tainan. And I want to thank Lin Chen, okay, the senator over here, to greet us and to recognize that we are trying to be friends with all, okay, the country, the city, and hopefully that will be, okay, continue. And the next year, possible, we are going to have a friendly city with Philippines, okay, because that is what Mayor Pro Tem Beato, okay, that what her mom, okay, came from. So hopefully that will be, we can have that friendship. And later on, we maybe have some Mexican city, okay, will be friendly city with West Covina. We try to be international and try to help everybody. But thank you so much, Senator. Okay, appreciate. And Paulina?
Thank you so much.
And next presentation, can I have Maisha? Would you please come? Maisha Smith. Okay, and I want to present a certificate of recognition to Island Restaurant for meal donation to the senior meal program. Okay, I want to thank Island Restaurant. Okay, thank you so much for their generous donation of 100 meals a week for the duration of 6 weeks to the senior meal program. Okay, and Maisha, want to say something? Are you going to continue to give us another 6 weeks?
Yes, when we have, I think we have three.
She said yes.
We have, I think, 3 more weeks. We have about 3 more weeks that we're able to donate. I think they were short on volunteers. So I'd let them know that they can reach out to us anytime. It really provided us a purpose during the first couple months of COVID. So it was really fun to get to know the team at the senior center and load up their cars to do the right thing for the seniors. So thank you for the opportunity.
Next time I won't put a prompt over here, applause. Laugh, okay. Angry, okay. Boo, okay. So, and anyway, and here I want to thank for Island Restaurant, the generosity. And we have 2 certificates for you, one from the city and one from the Senator Lin Chen. Okay, represent our south side of West Covina. And here the first one represent the city and the second one from Lin Chen. And okay, next one will be another certificate to recognize the Sprout Farmers Market meal donation to the senior meal program. And do I have a Marco Flores? Okay, would you please come? Is Gary not around? Want to say something about your donation and your good gesture for our city? Go ahead.
Well, I'm the new store manager for the Sprouts in West Covina, and I'm glad to be part of a company that's willing to help out the city. So if there's any needs that you guys need, please feel free to ask me, and I'll be sure to help you guys out.
We need a lot. We need more. So you want to give us more?
Of course.
Holy mackerel, we have an open check right here. Okay, so, give me the check so we could write the number from, Sprout. But thank you so much. Okay, I think this is really help our senior, especially right now during the pandemic. And a lot of senior really, struggling. And with your good gesture, I think we're helping a lot of senior resident for their meal program. And here, represent the city, we want to recognize the Sprout for this magnificent achievement and generosity for our community. And this is from Lin Chen, our senator, and they are provide another certificate for you. Thank you so much. Okay, and we are going to withdraw that check. Okay, so Marco, we're going to get that thing. Okay, the senior meal program. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, and next one will be proclamation. National Breast Cancer Awareness Month of October. Can we have the representative come down? I think October is a Breast Cancer Awareness Month, an annual campaign to increase awareness of the disease and raise funds for researchers into cause, prevention, diagnosis, treatment, and cure. There are about 1.38 million new cases and about 450,000 deaths from the breast cancer. Breast cancer is by far the most common cancer in women worldwide. You will be seeing the police department wearing pink. Yeah, pink. Okay, where's my pink? Okay, Lisa represent me with a big pink. Okay, and the pink patch on their uniform during the month of October. You can see all police officers wear the pink patch. And I would like to ask our police chief to come to podium and receive a proclamation declaring October National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Okay, would you want to say something?
Thank you, Mayor. Well, he kind of said everything I was going to say. He kind of took my thunder. But I do want to make you aware that there are over 500 agencies that participate in the Pink Patch Project, which is what we are associated with. And we raise money for the Pink Patch Project. We turn that money in. And to date, there's over 500 agencies that participate. Over 900 patches have been sold, and they've raised over $1.4 million to go towards breast cancer research. Thank you. She's going to do domestic violence.
Got it. Okay, so here is a proclamation to our police chief, and we want to have everybody to donate to help out about, this breast cancer, and I think we want to help all those potential issues. We really want everybody to do the regular checkup and to reduce any potential, fatality for this disease. Okay, but here is a proclamation. Okay, would you please stay? Okay, next proclamation, Domestic Violence Awareness Month of October. So basically, October is a National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, which first began in 1981 by the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence as a day of unity to connect bettering the woman, advocate across the country. Domestic violence affects millions, both women and men, of every race, religion, culture, and status. I would like to ask our police chief to say something about declaring the October National Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Thank you. I would love to talk about it, but I've actually brought the expert with us. This is Diane Franklin. She's our victim advocate for the police department. She's done such a wonderful job and has helped many, many people in our community. So I'm going to let her speak a little bit.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here, and I want you to know how special West Covina is. I'm very proud of the program that we have here, and we are one of a handful of cities that have their own domestic violence advocate. And many of our victims come back often and thank us for being who we are. The bottom of domestic violence is very lucrative. Many crimes spring from that. Most of the kids in juvenile hall grew up in a home with domestic violence. Most gang members come from home with domestic violence. There's a long list, including most women and men that miss work, and that comes to millions of dollars every year, come from home with domestic violence. Our program, because a good officer, power is gentle. A good advocate, gentleness is powerful. And we wrap the victim in that, and she or he is able to succeed after that.
I think thank you so much. Good job. I know, I think everybody watching TV, okay, and a lot of time we have a fatality of a police officer. A lot of time is about the domestic violence. Okay, when they call the police, they went, and then, okay, because they think about just civil, okay, and domestic violence, okay, call maybe not serious, but end up it's extremely serious because they hit a moment, and then we have a major fatality for our police officer and the victim. So I think this is something very important we need to really combat, okay, on this, okay, I don't know, it's a society disease, and the men, okay, maybe both sides, okay, to have a violence to their spouse, okay, to their partner, okay, so this is something we need to make sure, okay, reduce this violence. So, but anyway, thank you so much for this, okay, and for your speech, and we have a proclamation, okay, for people to aware this is the month. We want to make sure we, in West Covina, we want zero domestic violence happen in our city. But thank you so much. Okay, and we're going to move to the next agenda. Before I move on to oral communication, I want to have a adjourn motion to one of our beloved hero. Okay, his name is J. Johnstone. Okay, and okay, tonight we would like to adjourn our council meeting in memory of who grew up in West Covina and attend Edgewood High School. Okay, and Johnstone played 20 seasons in the major league, including his first 5 seasons with California Angel and part of 4 years with the Dodger. Okay, he has a 2-run home run in the Game 4 of a 1981 World Series. I think people remember there's a legendary fluid of an 8-7 victory for LA at Dodger Stadium, as a team came back from a 2-game to defeat the Yankees in 6 games and won the World Series of late years. Okay, and not only that, he was a veteran, served 4 years at U.S. Marine Corps Reserve. Okay, and at this, he passed away September 26, 2020, okay, at age 74. And our deepest condolences to his wife, Mary Jane Johnstone, the daughter, and his family at this heartbreaking time. So, Assistant City Clerk, would you please send the city condolences to his family? Thank you so much. Then we move to oral communication. And how many speakers we have?
Good evening, Mayor. We have 4 speakers in the chambers, and we have 2 callers.
And which one you want to go first? Okay, the in-person one or the people on the phone?
In person.
Okay, go ahead.
Our first speaker is Al Contreras, followed by Mr. Fred Sykes, followed by Miss Angie Gillingham.
It's okay to take out the mask for it. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the public, and people watching us here. It's funny that I came here today. I started my water career with Senator Ling Chang. She was also a water director at Walnut. Following that, we hired her as our science center educator running for us in the upper district. So just I wanted to say hi to her, but again, we have to keep our distances and everything else. But she's gone a long way, so congratulations. I wish she was here to hear it, but unfortunately she's not. But where I'm going at is, first of all, my name again is Alfonso Al Contreras. I'm here to speak to you about my re-election to the Upper San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District, also known as the Upper District for short. I have over 20 years experience in the water industry, and I'm film qualified to do the job. We heard about utility shortages. In 2019 alone, we imported the most water to be able to prevent water shortages here in the San Gabriel Valley. Please note that the primary goal of our district is not to import water. However, also note that we cannot depend on our rain and snow to provide sufficient water to our basin. So we have to look at other means to prevent shortages. Can anyone right now think in their mind, or does anyone know, when was the last time we had rain? Well, needless to say, year to date, our water table is 0. So therefore, due to climate change, we cannot predict the future. The best thing to do is to prepare for it. This is why I, Contreras, and our board is presently doing. This is the reason I, Contreras, feel that I'm the most qualified to take this challenge now and the future. Our goal is to have sufficient water to supplement the water needs our local cities and water companies so they can provide to their residents. We're not the local customer, the local water agency that delivers to the residents. We deliver the water to cities and water agencies. So don't complain about the bill to me. Because of our education and conservation programs, we have been able to accomplish many goals. One that I, Contreras, is very proud of is that you, the customer, have reduced water consumption per household. So I want to thank everyone here and everyone at home that they have reduced their water consumption by 20%. So that's because it tells me, first of all, that you guys are listening. And we have many programs for the residents that can qualify in addition to that for rebates. And please look to our website to participate. There's many rebates, but I'm short of time. So our website is upperdistrict.org. We cannot stop now, especially in the uncertainty of times. Water is a complex issue. Some of my vast experience includes chairing the Administrative Finance Committee, co-chair the Water Resources and Facilities Management. I'm a former member of the San Gabriel Valley Water Quality Authority. I'm also a former member of the Water Basin, and I can keep on going on and on. Also, I was also formerly serving as president, vice president, and director for the Valley County Water District here in serving also West Covina, Baldwin Park, and Irwindale. Plus a few years with Southern California Edison as a compliance manager. So my goal is simple, to continue to provide clean, safe, environmentally friendly water to our valley. Also looking for ways to import less water and one day to be self-sufficient. Importing water is kind of expensive, so unfortunately we have to pass on the rates to the cities and the water agencies, and then in turn they pass some of the costs to your local water companies, whether they're private or municipals or county water agencies. We're headed in the right direction to reclaim water, desalination, and many other projects. And again, we don't have no choice but to continue looking for alternatives. And we cannot stop and take a different direction right now during these unknown times. That is why I, Al Contreras, is the right candidate to continue serving you, the residents. And I thank you for your time and support. Please vote Contreras from now all the way through November 3rd. And you can welcome to visit our websites, which is Facebook, Alfonso Al Contreras, or my website, www.alfonsocontreras.org. So go Dodgers, go Lakers. We need more championship here in LA County. in the LA City. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Alfonso.
Have a great evening.
Thank you so much. Okay, next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Mr. Frederick Sykes, followed by Ms. Angie Gillingham, followed by Mr. Jim Grivich.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, City staff, and members of the audience. I am Frederick Sykes, retired LA County Deputy Sheriff, 42-year resident of West Covina, also former mayor of this city. We have some good people on the Planning Commission, but they let the residents down by not doing their due diligence on the no alcohol sold in service stations law. They are intelligent, and they care about protecting their families, their property, and their community and our city. The planning commissioners are very familiar with our no alcohol sold in gas stations because most of the planning commissioners have seen this measure 5 times already. Not one of them asked staff to research and determine how will this action improve the city. Why and how are other communities seeking to reduce the number of alcohol outlets? This time, not one asked or discussed how this change would affect the people of West Covina, how it would affect the youth, our public safety, schools, and our standard of living and our quality of life. One commissioner gave a long speech about how Councilman Lloyd Johnson was not corrupted by taking money and campaign resources from the gas station owners. Then all of a sudden, changing his mind from supporting the law to now he is leading the charge to abolish the law. This commissioner further stated that this is a business-friendly decision that he was making, and that changing this law was not about increasing revenue for the city. And not one word did he say about us, we the people, who live here and pay the taxes in the city of West Covina. The planning commissioners know that this is election season. They know that they are appointed by the members of the city council. And when the West Covina City Council starts to dislike the decisions made by their commissioners, they sometimes remove and replace those commissioners. And they, the commissioners, recognize the pleasure of the majority of the city council who voted for this action, and that was Johnson, Castellanos, and Shoemaker, 2 of whom are in the November 3rd election race. So it appears that due to the political circumstances, the city council has a decision back with no delay and no new information upon which to aid them in making the best decision for the city. No sort of impact study was requested. No short-term or long-term questions were asked and answered. No questions concerning alcohol in the conjunction with recent increases in violent crimes, as reported by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, LAPD, and other law enforcement agencies all around our nation. No research was requested as to COVID-19 and how there is the increase in the use and the addiction of alcohol. COVID-19 has changed our environment, and so it will change with the abundance of gas stations. It'll change our environment. Before you add the 21 gas stations, please consider that we already have more than 150 alcohol outlets, liquor, grocery, drug, restaurants, bars, convenience stores, dairies, Big League Dreams baseball park, and recently our movie theaters are now serving alcohol. The possibility that within a few months our city could have an additional 21 liquor stores attached to gas stations near schools and not far from these numerous homeless camps that we have to keep cleaning up. And remember, This law was grandfathered by the courts to our city, and once removed, our city would not be able to bring it back. Please do the right thing and the best thing for the residents and the city. Do not abolish this no alcohol sold in gas stations law. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Ms. Angie Gillingham, followed by Mr. Jim Grivich, followed by Mr. Steve Bennett.
Council and staff and mayor. The West Covina Improvement Association wants to thank the city for the use of City Hall chambers for the candidate forums for 1 and 3. Holding these forums in council chambers brings a level of prestige to the candidates. A special thanks to the IT department, Sean Granger and his team, for assisting in the graphic that appeared on the camera, for being on site as well, and for all the technical issues that arose that each evening. Now, to the residents of West Covina, I want to explain how the public candidate forum became a closed event. The WCIA was instructed by the city that both forums had to follow the same safety measures that applies to city councils and planning commissioner meetings, which allows the public to attend. An email was sent to the city on Friday the 18th, 4:05 p.m., informing the city that a notice of complaint registered with the LA County in regards to hosting the candidate forum was raised, and that, to hosting the candidate forum as an open public event. The WCIA was contacted by the city on Monday, September 21st, that the forums could only proceed as a closed event to be compliant with COVID restrictions. This was after press releases, social media posts went out inviting the public. We were just as confused by the email, knowing that these city council and planning commissioner meetings are currently allowing the public to attend to the forums that are being held to this day. But we had to follow the rules. I want to make it clear, it was not the city who made the decision to close the doors to the public. Having the public in attendance in past forums gives the candidates an opportunity to face the public in a large arena and experience what it is to be like, or what it would be like if they should win their race. Hopefully 2022 will be a year that the public will be invited back to take part in the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Angie. Next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Mr. Jim Grivich, followed by Mr. Steve Bennett.
I wanted to start off with Go Dodgers.
Go Dodger.
First game of the new series tonight. My agenda tonight is pretty simple. Mr. Mayor, I'm responding to you. The last two meetings you asked me to talk. I have to talk about something.
Thank you to come back to talk.
Anyway, item 5, which is on the consent calendar, emergency declaration is what it's called. Basically authorizing the city manager to take action without council consent. I would like to ask you to pull it off the consent calendar and actually have a discussion about this matter. I don't believe there's any reason to continue it. I haven't heard any real justification for continuing it. The two emergencies that existed at the beginning are not really in existence anymore. The financial emergency has passed because the city successfully borrowed $10 million to replenish the reserves. I'm not sure I approve of long-term debt to pay for operating expenses, but the city did it, so you no longer have a financial emergency. And in terms of health, as I'm sure you're all aware, there haven't been any issues with that for a long time now. All of the trends are down in terms of issues. and I don't see any reason for emergency action on the subject. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Mr. Steve Bennett, followed by Minerva Avila, followed by Ms. Celeste.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate that. Mr. Mayor, members of council, staff, Steve Bennett, longtime, lifetime resident of the city. A couple things to bring up. First of all, I want to thank the 4 employee bargaining units that have their side letters on the agenda tonight. I forget the exact numbers. I want to say it's like 6 on or something like that. They basically are, from what I can read, extending their employment agreement or the union at the same as what it was before. The disconcerting part of that is real simply the fact that we continue to look to the employees and the bargaining groups that didn't get a raise over Measure WC, and you're asking for them to give up stuff still to this day. Back in October of 19, you guys approved 12% pay raises for the police and fire unions, equivalent to about $2.4 million a year in a full calendar year. And they've given back a very small percentage, and at best, a very short time period. It's time to work to rescind those 2 MOUs, the very flawed MOUs that you guys approved on a whim and a wish and a prayer to be able to cover those financially. And it's time to rescind those and make a real MOU that's actually responsible for the city, something that is fiscally sound, that those were not. But instead, it seems like we continue going after the rank and file of our city, the people that work hard every day, the ones that work Monday through Thursday for us, and asking for them to give back when they didn't get that 12% raise. I've been up here a couple of times asking for that, and it just doesn't appear to register, either to city management or to all of you who voted in favor of those raises. Because really, this is on your back. This is your vote. I concur with Mr. Grivich up here that there is no more financial emergency. As the city manager once said, word for word, we are back to broke. Well, we were broke for a long time and not in a fiscal emergency. So if we're back to broke, then we should be back to non-fiscal emergency, because that's honestly what it's been for years. For the COVID declaration, I kind of agree with him. We haven't really had any major issues with COVID. We've had a few employees. I know the police chief was down for a while, and I see he's back, which is great. And I know we've had a few others, but for the most part, it's not the same declaration that we had in March. And I think it's time we rescind that declaration as well. I kind of agree with Mr. Grivich. So that's kind of where I'm at on the topics that are on tonight's agenda. Now, on another topic, I was raised by my parents to always give back to this community, and for years I've done that. For years I've volunteered, I've given my time, both in volunteering organizations, commissions, whatever I kind of needed to do, homeless counts. I've been involved in a number of things over the years. And one of the things that I see all the time of recent is we need help funding our seniors for meals. And I think, Mr. Wu, you had presentations tonight on that. I brought my checkbook tonight. I'm willing to give $500, my own personal money.
Can you receive $500 from Steve?
So I'm more than willing. I'll write the check tonight. I came prepared. I'm willing to give the senior meals $500. Like I said, I've always believed you give back. My parents taught me that, and you kind of have to speak by action. And because of the way I get paid, I recently was able to get my yearly bonus check, and I have a little extra cash, so it's time to give back. It's a time where I can do that. So it's my honor to do that to the seniors. My mom passed away in March of 2018 at the age of 86. I took care of her for over 20 years. And I think she'd be proud to see me do this as well as everything else. So to you guys, I'll get with, I guess, Mark and get that money, and we'll figure anything else out later. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council.
Thank you so much, Steve, for your generosity. Okay, we appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you. Okay. Next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Minerva Avila. Mr. Avila?
Yes, thank you. Good evening. I'm Minerva Avila.
Can you hear? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. I'm Minerva Avila, West Covina resident. I live in District 4. Have the inadequacies of the gas monitoring system at the BKK landfill been fixed? I first asked that question to Councilman Castellanos via email on February 26th of this year. Mayor Wu and Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Diado were CC'd on that email. No one answered my question. Have the inadequacies of the gas monitoring system at the BKK landfill been fixed? I asked that question a second time on September 1st here during public comment. I received an email 2 days later from city staff, but the question was not answered. Instead, the email stated that it is not, quote, the city's nor the LEA's responsibility to resolve inadequacies with the system, unquote. Have the inadequacies of the gas monitoring system at the BKK landfill been fixed? I asked that question a third time via email to city staff on the 9th of September. City staff did not reply. Have the inadequacies of the gas monitoring system at the BKK landfill been fixed? I asked that question a fourth time on September 15th here during public comment. I did not receive an answer during that council meeting. City staff did not contact me with an answer. Have the inadequacies of the gas monitoring system at the BKK landfill been fixed? I asked that question tonight here for the 5th time. In a letter dated August 30th, 2019, CalRecycle informed the city of the inadequacies of the gas monitoring system at the BKK landfill. It has been well over a year now. I have asked that question many times now, and not a single member of this council has provided an answer to me. Not a single one of you. I'm left to conclude that you either don't care or don't know, or maybe you're hiding something. As I have mentioned before, I recognize that the issues related to the BKK landfill are complex. My question, though, is not. The gas monitoring system has either been fixed or it has not. It's a yes or no answer. I'll repeat the question one more time. Have the inadequacies of the gas monitoring system at the BKK landfill been fixed? I hope that you answer that question tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Minerva. Okay, next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Celeste. Go ahead, Celeste.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, hello. My name is Celeste. I am a citizen of West Covina. I'm calling to voice my concerns about agenda items number 7 and number 17 on tonight's agenda. As many residents rely on our public transportation system, a lot of them, including my female family members, I believe that West Covina should not sell its restricted Prop A dollars and instead bring forward new projects to improve our city's public transit. I also believe strongly on item number 17. I think that we should not pursue research into the California Citizens for Local Control or support that initiative for that matter. To many residents, they're struggling very much to make rent or to pay their mortgages, and we must support affordable housing here in West Covina. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is it?
That is all, Mayor.
Okay, thank you so much. And still any resident, okay, in person want to address to council? Anyone? No? Yusuf? No? No. Okay. But thank you so much. Okay. And I'm going to close our communication. Okay. And city manager, would you please answer some of the concern, okay, with Angie regarding the, okay, why the forum is a closed session? Okay. And Jim talking about the state of emergency, why, okay, you still request letter, and Steve talking about, okay, the union settlement that like they only the people, the rank and files, okay, supposed to be everybody take a 10% cut, okay, and Minerva talking about the BKK, the monitoring, okay, regarding I think this is by the DTSC, okay, so maybe you can answer that, okay, and then the last one talking about the Full Hill and talking about her comment regarding against the local control. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Yes, I'm happy to try and address the concerns that were raised by the speakers, and I thank them for participating tonight. Mr. Contreras, glad he came and remind us that there's an election coming up. We've got on our website, if I could use the moment to say, people have been making inquiry about where do they vote, and we've got on our city clerk page of the website access to that information. I encourage people to look at that to figure out where to go on election day and before. Mr. Sykes raised the question about the zoning text amendments, which would amend the zoning code to permit conditionally the sale of alcohol at service questions. That matter is scheduled for City Council at your next meeting. There'll be a public hearing about it then. Angie Gillingham thanked for the professionalism of the staff with the candidate forums. You're welcome. I'm happy we were able to help. It was a last-minute concern that was registered with County Health, and we were responding to that, which was the rules that we had to follow. And we are doing our level best through this entire pandemic to follow County Health rules. Mr. Grivich and I think also Mr. Bennett spoke to the need, or their suggestion that one is not needed for a state of local emergency. This is a pandemic which is atypical in terms of disasters. And I would like to say that local government is really the backbone of the federal system that we follow in times of crisis like this. We, as a local agency, report to the Area D, which is all of the cities in this part of the county. We go through the Governor's Office of Emergency Services, and then we can then access not only the state but also the federal money through the FEMA system. It's a very experienced system. It's an old system under the Stafford Act. The city is then, by this local emergency declaration, eligible to receive the state and federal grants and aid. I think that's the primary reason why we're recommending that that be continued. And we have been joined in that philosophy by all of the cities in the San Gabriel Valley. I checked today with our Area D representative, who have also all continued. Just today, we were made aware of yet another grant that might be available to us under this status. We're going to research that. We're going to pursue it. We've researched and pursued every grant and every opportunity for resources that could come down to us for our response to this situation. And for that reason, it's on your agenda with a recommendation for approval. Also mention was made of the employees agreeing with the side letters to give back to the city a portion of their benefits which were bargained. We have 9 unions. 8 of the 9 have now agreed and signed, and tonight we're asking you to ratify the 4. 1 has not yet agreed, and we're still hopeful. Hope springs eternal. But our employees are our biggest asset, and they understood completely the city finances and the need for the city to tighten the belt a notch as we were wending our way through this pandemic in terms of an organizational response and also fiscally. And I'm very appreciative that 8 of our unions have agreed to help us, some of them temporarily for 6 months, and in a couple cases they've increased their contribution to the pensions indefinitely. It won't sunset at the end of 6 months. Ms. Avila asked some questions about the gas monitoring system. I'm going to ask our assistant city manager to respond, but before I do, I would like to just note publicly that we've made some major progress with the regulatory agencies, and we'll have a formal resolution for council consideration confirming some of those organizational relationships on your next agenda. Now I'm going to ask Mr. Persico to speak to her substantive question.
Yes, thank you very much. And I must start by apologizing. I was originally responding to Ms. Avila by email, and I haven't been able to get back to her. But very briefly, and as she's noted, this is a very complicated matter. The study that she is referring to is a very limited sample that CalRecycle did testing some of the monitoring wells. There are over 500 monitoring wells on the BKK property. They took an extremely small sample size, and based off of that very small sample size, determined that the gas monitoring system is inadequate, in their words. We disagree with that assessment because I don't think that based on a small sample size you can make that assumption. We do believe that there are some minor repairs that need to be made, but CalRecycle's assessment that the entire system needs work, we don't agree with, and that is, as the city manager noted, we've been having ongoing discussions with CalRecycle. We have made significant progress, and the council will be asked to take formal action on the 20th. So we don't believe, the city does not believe that the monitoring system is damaged or is unsafe.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Okay, and quickly, okay, I think this is supposedly monitored by all those regulatory agencies, including the TTSC, and that they did the presentation to us. Okay, this is their job. That's why at the Home Depot and some places they have the well, the monitors. Okay, so see, and the presentation I remember they present to us, TTSC, their chief, and told us because the composition for these 25 years, they basically almost down in the so-called the end zone. Meaning they're not going to power 30,000, 40,000 homes. Currently, you see the steam coming out on that facility. They say they're going to go down this couple of years to only can very tiny little amount of the gas. So because decomposition, a certain agent is over. So that's what they present to us. Okay, and so another thing. This is from my understanding. This BKK is owned by BKK. Okay, and they're bankrupt. So we basically is taking over, try to help, and they have a BKK work group to in the toxic landfill that we have no jurisdiction that controlled by DTSC by the state. That is what people talking about toxic landfill. That city has no right to touch, to even go there. Everything controlled by the state DTSC. So anyway, and they monitor everything. But based on my understanding, they send a letter to us. That is fading away. The working group of BKK, the 50 of the major polluter, they come out the money to do this. But I think that we need to find out how going to deal with less site that currently controlled by the state, by DTSC, what they're going to do after they done with their job. So who's going to take over, and continue to make sure that site is sound and is healthy, no contamination to our residents, especially for the south side. So anyway, this is my understanding. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, and if I may, we will have more on this subject, especially the organizational relationships, and ask the council to consider a resolution on your next agenda. The last speaker, Celeste, asked about two items that are on the consent calendar. One concerned Proposition A, which was a voter-approved half-cent sales tax. The city receives that subvention, and in this case, as has been the case for a number of years prior, the city is trading those monies to receive general fund revenues in trade. We get more of those monies than are needed now to run the transit programs of the city, the Go West bus, et cetera. And then her last question pertained to item 17, which is a request of the Mayor Pro Tem seeking legislative support for an initiative led by a council member in Torrance, and that'll be something you'll discuss later this evening. I think that's all I've got.
Okay, thank you so much. And then we move on to manager report, please. Go ahead.
Okay. It's a bit concerning to me to hear that, the state did a sampling and determined that the monitoring system is inadequate, and to hear we disagree with it. What have we done to do testing or to say anything beyond we disagree with you?
I think as the mayor has pointed out, there are, and I think some people know this, maybe everybody does, but it might be worth repeating. There are two halves to the landfill, the toxic portion and the non-toxic portion. They have an integrated monitoring system. So both the Class 1 and the Class 3 rely upon the same monitoring system. Part of the reason for the change in the LEA was the former LEA was, in staff's opinion, not being responsive, which is why we actually received the decertification letter from the state, CalRecycle, and that's why we replaced the former contractor with the new contractor, Steve Samaniego, who worked for the city in the past and has over 20 years of experience with landfill. To answer your question specifically, we've been trying to have those discussions with CalRecycle. CalRecycle hasn't wanted to talk to us because they kept saying, well, we intend to decertify the city and take it over ourselves, so they weren't willing to talk. Now that we are close to having resolution, part of the stipulated judgment that we have reached with CalRecycle is that CalRecycle and the city work cooperatively to address the issues. There has not been cooperation between the city and CalRecycle, unfortunately, for quite some time. So beyond saying we disagree, unfortunately, we haven't made much progress because we've been stonewalled, in my opinion, by the state. So we do hope to have constructive dialogue, and certainly if there are repairs out there that need to be made, we'll either do them ourselves or have them done by DTSC. There are also a number of consent decrees. The second consent decree actually, and this is another point of contention between the city and both CalRecycle and DTSC, the second consent decree, in our opinion, very clearly says that the gas monitoring system needs to be maintained by DTSC. So if there are defects in the system, it is staff's position, the city's position, that DTSC is the one ultimately responsible for repairing those. So hopefully that answers your question.
It does answer my question and actually takes care of my second question about who's responsible for maintaining them. And sometimes I ask the question knowing the answer. But how are we going to move forward? I know we have this agreement, but in general, with all of these agencies that are supposed to be monitoring this site, when I first got on the council, we had a report from the DTSC about studies that they were in the process of doing, that they were behind on them. I have yet to see any of those reports. You know, this goes back to, I got a little bit blasted when I said, by having a development up there, it would require this testing to happen, and that I thought, Singpoli's going to pay for it. No, these agencies that passively have been monitoring this situation, not really caring about the residents on the south side or even the ones on the north that may be getting contaminated from the Class 1, will have to take notice and pay attention to this site. Again, for those of you who don't know, the Class 1 is unlined. At this point, we don't know if it's reached the water table and has contaminated everywhere. By getting these studies done, by pushing these agencies like we're doing right now, we may then have an ability to go to all of these agencies and the BKK working group, which is made up of the gross polluters who dumped all of this in West Covina, and tell them they need to fix it. To go to the federal government and say, EPA, you're not doing your job. You need to do something about this unlined Class 1. And so I'm glad we've reached a resolution with them to move forward and that this will start happening. Mayor Wu, I know you have a question.
No, I don't have a question. I want to, stop this. I want to, because next agenda, we're going to have this resolution so we can have a detailed discussion. So, we save for, would you mind save for, we are going to save for next meeting because you're going to present the agenda so we can discuss more in detail, for more understanding for residents to understand what we are facing about this major issue we have been facing for so long, and hopefully we can have some clean up and some of the things to make sure all the responsible party have to do it, and the regulatory agency need to do their job, and that's what we request. We request them to do their job. So anyway, let's move on. City manager report, please.
Mayor Wu, I actually have 2 more things, but not on that one. Not on that one. Promise. Okay, I don't want the meeting to take forever, so don't worry. I just want to clarify that I want to make sure any studies they've done since they last said that they were going to do the studies, we actually get as part of the presentation. And then I guess tonight's the night where I'm just not tolerant of misstatements. And so when it pertains to alcohol at the gas stations, I voted in favor of it last time. When this was brought up to the council, there was a statement made that no one asked for any additional information. And I specifically asked that when it goes back to the Planning Commission, they look at the fact that restaurants, thanks to COVID-19, can basically give you alcohol in sippy cups, and how that's affected drunk driving in West Covina. And so I wanted to clarify that before it comes back, and in case it was missed by staff, just point that out to the Planning Commission, because we did not have this uproar about alcohol now being able to be taken out into go cups, or we didn't have this outroar when the new 7-Elevens opened. New restaurants have opened, new stores have opened that are allowed to sell alcohol. One of the things they pointed out is that, one of the gas stations is next to a school that they think it will be the first one. Well, I would like to point out that there's a 7-Eleven right there that does sell alcohol. So that one, I wanted to thank Angie for letting the community know that it was the county that did not allow public participation at the candidates forum. And I just wanted to point out the differences because as a city council or the planning commission, we are doing city business. And as a candidates forum hosted by a private organization, while it's important to the election of our city, it is not official, essential city business. And so that was the difference for the county in what's allowed at a city council meeting and a planning commission meeting versus a candidates forum. Okay, that's it.
Okay, thank you. To be fair, any other council member want to talk? Are you sure? Okay. You have enough. Okay, we have to move on. Okay, the city manager report, please.
I'm going to spare you the analysis of the trends in the general fund reserve levels because I want to stay focused. The main point I wanted to make with respect to dog license canvassing as relates to the general fund picture is that in the last fiscal year just closed, which closed on June the 30th, we did pretty well last year. There are a couple areas where I think we need to do even better toward the goal of good governance and sound operations. One is our risk management program and the litigation settlements, which continue to be a topic for us. And then the second one is the dog license canvassing. This is a very gentle reminder that beginning this month, the Inland Valley Humane Society and SPCA is canvassing for dog licenses. And I would encourage everybody to be kind and to get that dog licensed as the law requires. Next slide. One more. This was a slide, a picture of a de-escalation training we did in our police department, and I wanted to make mention of it because it was one of the best trainings I've seen. police departments across this nation are dealing with this issue of how to fairly and equitably relate to the communities they serve. And so on this particular day, as you can see, we had our training room in the basement of the PD full of officers getting this training, which was really excellent, talking about community contacts. I think the title of it, Why'd You Stop Me, Officer? And there was some really good training for our officers that resulted of this. Some cities have taken this a step further and added a community engagement piece to ask that same question of community members. We're looking into scheduling and the costs of that, but don't be surprised if that comes forward as a recommendation. Next slide. The purple is the highest level that we've got in this state for managing the COVID crisis, and Los Angeles County is still one of the hot spots. We've got half the cases in the state. But we do have some good news to report. As of this week, indoor malls and shopping centers can open at a maximum 25% capacity. Some people seem to be excited about hair salons, barber shops, and nail salons being open. We don't have card rooms. But I think as long as we continue to follow the health orders, we will continue to be able to get our businesses back and our economy back up. And then one final message is that consistent with this most recent order, our playgrounds are now officially open as well. A lot of people have been looking forward to that. That's all I've got this evening. Thank you.
So you done? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. City Manager. So we move on to consent calendar. So I know we have council, member Shoemaker, you want to put number 3? Okay, and I have number 5, no, Johnson. Okay, and
I would also like to pull that one.
no, you know, right? Okay, so no Johnson and
Would actually like to discuss it.
you want to pull?
Yeah.
Okay, so pull number 5. Okay, and then number 6 will be pulled by Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado, and then number 8 will be pulled by Councilman Casiano. So we're going to approve. Okay, yeah, okay, I have you. And then Councilman Johnson want to pull 9, 10, 11, 12. You just want to have a comment. So I will let you talk in one bundle. So we're going to who's going to make the motion to approve agenda number 1, 2, 4, 7, and 13.
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Okay, do I have a second? Second by Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado. And roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos?
Aye.
Councilman Johnson?
Aye.
Councilmember Shoemaker?
I think the motion is missing number 15 and number 13. So.
We have number 12.
Okay, let me repeat my motion. 14 and 15. So the motion will approve number 1, 2, 4, 7, 13, 14, and 15. Okay, and I have a motion moved by Council Member Casiano and second by Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado. And roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos?
Aye.
Councilman Johnson? Councilmember Shoemaker?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado?
Aye.
Mayor Wu?
Aye, motion approved 5-0. Then we moved on the agenda number 3, and Council Member Shoemaker, go ahead.
Yes. Is our city treasurer here? Ms. Rosati? Because I have a couple of questions on the investment report.
Through the chair, I did see her as the meeting convened. I believe she's in chambers tonight.
She is.
I'm being told by several people with fingers pointing that she is indeed up there in the choir loft.
Okay. Do you want me to, are you able to come down?
She's coming.
Go ahead.
Thank you for coming down from the, as we used to call it, the peanut gallery over there.
Can't hear you.
I said thank you for coming down from what we used to call the peanut gallery up there. I had a couple of questions about the investment report. And on the Chandler report, on the bottom of page 1, there's a table with investment returns of West Covina versus Treasury rates. And it says year-to-date Treasury is 3.01%, whereas West Covina is only at 1.61%. Do you know why we're receiving that much less in interest?
You know what? I'm sorry, Jessica. I can't hear anything you're saying. Something about the Chandler report?
Yes.
So what happened?
On the bottom of page 1, there's a table.
Of which report? Of Chandler's report?
Of Chandler's report. Okay. On page 1, there's a table with investment returns of West Covina versus Treasury rates. Year-to-date Treasury rates are 3.01%. West Covina is 1.61%. It seems that we're receiving quite a bit less in interest. Can you explain why?
It's probably, oh, geez, sorry about that. Oh, man, that was loud. Sorry. It could be based on when it was invested.
What changes have we made to our investment accounts this year?
We are actually liquidating it with Chandler, which I've mentioned many times. We started out with $35 million in 2016. Mm-hmm. It was a tiered portfolio, and as they have come to mature, we have chosen not to reinvest with them. We're liquidating that portfolio. And what we have done is put the monies into either LAIF or LACIP, which I've mentioned many times as well. And if you look at the book value under LAIF, you'll see $70,926,000 and some change. So the majority of our funds have been invested in that. Speaking to Robin, and we've kept a close eye on this. We have decided not to invest with Chandler for a couple reasons. One, to omit the administrative fee. Two, given the current climate of investments, we decided to keep it liquid, very safe, and at the highest yield possible. And right now, LAIF and LACIP have some pretty good rates, so that's where it's at. So the suggestion is that after the election, we'll see how the trend is, make some discussions, and see if we want to reinvest in another firm or even with brokers.
Where are we trending with LAIF now in relation to Chandler Investments?
Pardon?
Where are we trending with LAIF in our investment returns?
The current rate with LAIF is 0.78, and with LACIP, it's 0.68.
Okay, so we're even less than what we were getting through Chandler then.
It depends.
They were at 1.61%.
It depends. It depends upon when you invest. It depends upon how long you invest. And right now, the climate of investments may not be the best as it was in 2016. So we're just going to wait it out. I think that's the best thing to do. Circle back around and see what we can do as far as a rainy day fund, and earn always the highest yield for the city, safe, and safety and liquidity, always at the forefront.
Who's responsible for determining the investments?
Who's the what?
Who's responsible for determining the investments?
Meaning what?
Who determines where our money goes? Who makes the recommendations to the council?
This portfolio was opened in 2016, and that was when you had Krista here as your finance director.
Well, that's fine. So it was the finance department.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Those are the only questions I have on this at the moment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, and who want to move the motion to approve? This is a receive and file, or this is approval? Huh? Yes. Receive and file, right? Okay, receive and file. Who want to move the motion?
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Okay, and who want the second?
I'll go ahead and second.
Very good. Very good. Let's move on. Okay, and we have Receive and file, moved by Councilman Casiano and second by Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado. And roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos?
Aye.
Councilman Johnson?
Aye.
Councilmember Shoemaker?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado?
Aye.
Mayor Wu?
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. Let's move on to agenda number 5. That will be pulled by Council Member Shoemaker. Go ahead.
Okay. I pulled this item because I have a suggestion. I understand why we would maintain the local emergency declaration, and that's to have the access to the funds allocated for COVID-19 relief. And obviously, every day, our officers and our firefighters are out there interacting with people who could be COVID positive. So we need to have access for funds for PPE and everything else required there, testing, and any other requirements that may come down for us to do. However, I just don't see the need at this point to continue with the city manager's authorization to continue to negotiate contracts or change contracts, because we've been doing this for 6 months. At this point, any contract that's going to be amended or changed has been done by now, and I would like the council to take control of that back instead of taking a back seat and having it negotiated and then ratified. And I do want to make that clear. Contracts that have been negotiated do come back to the council to be ratified. So we have had some control, but I'd rather not be approving any longer ratifications, but to be on the other side of it. Along with, I just believe that there are some things allowed that just aren't necessary now in terms of running the city under this local emergency declaration. So I would be amenable to extending this until the next meeting, wherein I would like to see a local emergency declaration that keeps us under a state of emergency but modifies the city manager's responsibilities under one.
Okay, thank you. And then, okay, I disagree with Council Member Shoemaker. I think we're still in a pandemic, and we still continue to have a lot of our employees got sick. Okay, and I think okay, the government has to be efficient. Okay, I think anytime when they have a big issue, I think city manager always aware to us. Okay, and I think the red tape of bureaucracy during the pandemic should be reduced. Okay, I think this is the time, okay, to continue to get over with this pandemic and during this time. But hopefully, okay, we will monitor every month, see with the need to have this, okay, state of emergency. But like the previous city manager explained to us, that we can get grant, that we can get, okay, a lot of assist, okay, and, okay, basically, okay, during this period of time. So I don't want to miss any potential. We can get grant, or we can get help to get any assistance from federal, state. So in that way, I will prefer month to month monitor the situation and get the effective of government, okay, act on this pandemic during this very tough time. So anyway, and other council member want to talk about this?
Mayor.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I am all in agreement with Council Member Shoemaker. I do believe that it's time that we move forward as a city council and take this responsibility back on ourselves. So at this evening, I will be voting no on this issue.
Okay, thank you. And any other member? Yes, go ahead.
For me, because we're under the same thing at work, we constantly change. There's daily changes. They keep changing things from one day to another. And sometimes the delay just takes, the bureaucracy just takes forever. And I just want to make sure that you continue to keep us in the loop as you have. Anything that is important or, controversial, of course, that is brought to us as a council. But for all the other things, I know, we have the CARES Act, the FEMA, the grants, they have deadlines. And those deadlines are fast approaching. It's sometimes like a week's notice. And if you pass it up, we don't get anything for our city. So I don't mind to continue this as long as the key issues, the most important things are brought to us and anything that's controversial.
I just want to follow up just Mayor Protem just said, because we're doing this part-time, and not only that, we're doing this every 2 weeks, okay, to do the city council meeting. And when they have emergency, and then they have to call us up for the special meeting to get 5 city council. During this pandemic, we have to act fast to save life, to get, okay, the problem we have to face it. I don't mind right now to give some power off the city council, give to our city manager and the staff due to it's pandemic. Okay, this is the tough time for people losing job and people basically, okay, and get sick. So we need to continue to monitor, okay, the situation till the pandemic is over. We're back to normal time. But again, I want to, okay, continue to do month to month. Every month we see how it goes, okay, and if we can take the power back and we can always be available, then yeah, let's do it. But currently, I think okay, we're still in this very deep, okay, and this pandemic. I don't think we should just go back to like a peacetime. This is a war against this virus. We need to continue to face it. Okay, and anybody? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I'm in favor of continuing the emergency order for right now. I'd like to discuss in private with our city attorney and our city manager when the right time may be, and also see which grants are forthcoming and really think about this carefully and time it right. So I agree with our mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, but I think there is topic for discussion later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do I have a motion?
I have a follow-up. Because I want to make it clear that I wasn't saying to get rid of the local emergency declaration. It is to modify it, meaning we would still be able to get funds. They could sign for grants related to the CARES Act or the COVID-19 emergency, but the blanket renegotiate any contracts we have, enter into contracts, and things that we normally handle on a day-to-day basis, not related to COVID, I think needs to come back to the council because we have not had that in place for 6 months now. And I don't see the local emergency any longer, especially since we have almost the last of the contracts on here for our unions, to continue that aspect of it. So there would be no delay in applying for grants because that falls under the COVID exception, monies, funding, and the emergency declaration.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Councilmember Shoemaker. And do I have a motion? Okay.
I'll make a motion. And to Councilmember Shoemaker, I understand, and like I said, I do want to discuss that with David and our city attorney, but I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay.
I do agree. The contracts that are related to COVID, I mean, that's what I'm assuming that this was all, regarding. So I do want to make sure that any contracts that is related to COVID, of course, you have authority, but that's not that anything that is not related to COVID or any of this, and I want to make sure that is brought forth to us and it's not put in part of this.
Anything is not emergency should bring to council to discuss. Anything regarding emergency and to take care of the situation, we want to make sure the city react fast because sometimes bureaucracy really kill people. So I want to make sure, but at the same time, and we do not, I think the concern by the council or by resident is the city manager might abuse the power. But I think we hire people, we based on trust. And then, so we trust you. We want you to make sure taking care of the city, our resident issue, and react very fast. Okay, sweep. Okay, to get the job done. Okay. Other than that, do I have a second?
Are we second to revising this, as in continue with this?
Not yet. We are going to. So to basically. City manager, you understand, anything regarding is not with COVID, with not the time agency, need to still bring to city council to, discuss to improve. But any emergency, and or COVID or anything about the issue about this state of emergency, you can take care of the situation. Okay, anyway, do I have a second?
My original suggestion was to have this vote for this to stay in place, but to have it brought back at our next meeting to make the modifications. So it would still be in place until we could discuss it, but rather than...
You want to make the motion? You want to make a amend motion? Okay, you can make a amend motion.
I make a motion that we approve the resolution 2020-101 extending the local emergency declaration to the next scheduled city council meeting. At that time, we will amend the resolution to limit the emergency powers of the city manager to those related to COVID-19.
So we have Council Member Shoemaker make the amended motion. Do I have a second so we can vote on this motion, amended motion first?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Councilman Johnson, amended motion. So roll call, please. So basically, I think you understand. Okay, amended motion regarding we are going to bring back. Okay, and basically to amend. Okay, the state of emergency, okay, to discuss basically the city manager will talk about what is on his power. Anything is not, urgent, then those things still have to go to city council to discuss. Other than that, okay, and the city manager can react fast on some of, all this COVID-19, situation. So I have a first and second, roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos?
Aye.
Councilman Johnson?
Aye.
Councilmember Shoemaker?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado?
Aye.
Mayor Wu?
Aye, and amended motion approved 5-0. So we bring back a nice council meeting to amend with city managers regarding the state of emergency. Okay, and amended with what your power defined. So in that way, nobody will thinking about you are taking up way too much power. Okay, and we have no control of that. Okay, very good. Okay, then we go to agenda number 8. That will be pulled by 6. Okay, sorry. Okay, man, it's too early. Agenda number 6 pulled by Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado. Go ahead.
So this was one of the projects that I was approached last year by a resident who happens to be also a parent that has her children attend Orangewood, part of the PTA. I just want to make sure that this project is 100% completed, done correctly, and I wanted to make sure that our staff double check the work. That's one. So yes. Okay. So thank you. I know the parents will be happy once, if and when they return to school. However, since we haven't had rain, I just want to make sure, is the work under warranty guarantee? Because I know we've had other issues. Yes?
Yes.
And normally for all projects in the city, anything that is done, how long is there warranties or in general? I just wanted to know.
There's a builder's warranty that comes with a public works project. In this case, there's a certified public works inspector that does these storm drain projects. And if the facility is big enough, they'll actually dolly it. They'll actually get on one of those creepers that goes under cars and go through it with a flashlight. Okay. These are planned and spec'd to the flood control district standards because it ties to the flood district facilities. So it enjoyed maybe more inspection than you might get from just a simple road paving job. We're confident that we got good work here, and so we're recommending it. By your approval tonight, we can file the notice of completion with the county, and then 35 days later, the contractor can be entitled to get the remittance for his retainer.
Okay, that was it. Thank you.
Any other comment or question? If none, do I have a motion to approve?
I motion.
Okay, motion approved by Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado and second by Councilman Casiano. Roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos?
Aye.
Councilman Johnson?
Aye.
Councilmember Shoemaker?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado?
Aye.
Mayor Wu?
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. Then we move on to number 8. Then moved by Councilman Casiano. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to give the fire chief the opportunity to explain this to the public. It's pretty important as it relates to plan check services conducted by fire. So, Chief, if you would, please.
So the fire department, Mayor, Council, citizens, City Manager, Fire Chief Vince Capelli. So the fire department receives plans for new projects in the city, temporary improvements or new homes or constructions in the city where we have to inspect those plans. The city does not have an in-house fire inspector that does plan checks. We use a consultant that are experts in the area of fire plan checks. So a couple years ago, about 3 years ago, we went out to RFP and we got a number of companies to give us bids on how much what they can do. Well, we chose 2 of those companies to continue service with to do our plan checks, and we found out that there's so much to be done that sometimes they can't keep up what we needed. So we went and got quotes again from companies, and the top 3 were 2 of the ones we're using and another one that can perform more readily for us, and we can use them as consultants. These are just agreements with them to, if we need them, to call them to do inspection, to evaluate and stamp the plans for fire plan inspections. And they are not contracts that we have to use them. We're just agreeing that we'll use them at their identified prices with us, their fees.
So only if we need them, when we need them. And how have they been performing, the 2 that we do have currently?
We have a great relationship. The problem is they don't have enough time because they do multiple cities that don't have in-house plan checks. So sometimes it's a little delayed, and a lot of our plan checks are requested to be immediate or expedited, and that's hard on them because then we have to pay to get them to them quicker, and then have to pay to get them back. So the one consultant that we're asking for the $30,000 actually will come back and forth and pick up. We don't have to ship anything to them, so theirs will even be quicker.
So they're doing well. They're just overwhelmed.
They're overwhelmed.
Okay. And if anything were to go wrong with any of these and we have to go out to bid again, would that be easy to do?
I mean, yeah, it would be easy to do, yes.
Okay. That's all, Chief, from me. If anyone else has questions, go ahead.
Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead.
Well, I actually find that a little concerning. I know it says that MAQ Fire Protection and Consulting is overburdened with plan check reviews, causing turnaround times of plans. Shouldn't that be a factor to possibly look at another vendor? Because, I mean, if they're, like you mentioned, that they're with other cities, I mean, I want to make sure West Covina is priority. We should always be priority, so.
Correct, and I agree with you. So we did that, and we found KJ Consultants, which wasn't a vendor before, who can do the work, has more members trained in their departments, not just one guy. The other 2 companies are single individuals who do it, and he has a team of people that can do it. And also, like I said, they'll come back and forth. We don't have to work for shipping back and forth.
Well, my thing is, we're still keeping these 2 vendors. So why are we still keeping these 2 vendors then?
Because they're doing the work and they need it. It's just we have enough plans to share it around, and we can't have one vendor can't do it all for us. So there's no way we can get one consultant to do it all. So we're satisfied with them. It's just it's delayed sometimes if we have more expedited plans.
But with cost, I know I'm looking at the recommendation. It's not to exceed $15,000. But on their previous, they've exceeded that. And I know you mentioned we had a part-timer, but that still was a higher cost, past $15,000.
Right. So what we did is we saw how much we've been paying over the last 5 years. So we gave a cap of the $30,000 for the one company and $15,000 for the other 2, and that will even us out to a total of $60,000 for the year. And if you can see over the last 5 years, we've come close to 60, but we haven't gone over 60. And obviously, if we anticipate at mid-year that we're going to go farther than that, we'll have to come back and ask for more, which I don't anticipate that at all. So we'll keep under the 60,000 that we're requesting, 15, 15, and 30, and we haven't went over that at all, even with the 2 companies. So we should have no problem.
What's the total revenue that we receive?
Well, basically, the way we're doing this, it's not a revenue. It's actually we charge what it costs for them to do it, and we give it to them.
What's the difference if it was in-house versus the consultants?
If it was in-house, depending what type of employee we had in-house, if we used a full-time employee, it would cost us more than this, but we would be keeping all the revenue, and we would have an employee also to do other stuff. But that's something we weren't able to determine for this fiscal year. We are actually looking at that for next fiscal year. Maybe getting a temporary retired and new in it to come in at a lower price where we can actually have a revenue from some of this. We're actually looking around.
I just want to follow. When you say in-house, can our planning department to maybe look into to help on this service? Is there any possibility?
The planning department? Yeah. I'm not aware of that. I just know that fire preventions are
no way, right? Fire department. It's a totally different criteria. So in that way, we need to have some person specialized in this. Yeah, go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
There's many times that we go out as firefighters to go out and actually look at the plans ourselves above and beyond the actual plans inspector.
Okay.
Well, if you said we're going to look into this next fiscal year, then there's no need to do a 3-year contract with them then, correct? So, I mean, if we do go forward, I wouldn't want to see a 3-year contract or a 2-year.
They're not really, like I said, they're agreements as consultants, so we don't have to use them at all. So after 1 year, if we do intend to do our own, we just give 15 days notice, so we don't have to have an agreement with either one of these companies anymore. So if it doesn't work out and we obviously can't bring on a new employee, we don't want to have to waste everybody's time and have to go through this process again, though as you know, we're lack of resources to put these documents together, and it's a lot of work. So the 3 years is basically just saying, hey, we want to have the agreement that we can use these if needed, these companies if needed.
Maybe you can ask about cut down the 3 years to maybe shorter the time.
Well, if that's the case, then I'd want to see this revised to not 3 years, just to put it as 1 year. And then I'll be okay with it.
I'd appreciate to keep it 3 years. It's like I said, we don't have staff to help put these together, and it's a lot of
It
work.
could be a year and then a year-to-year basis. Then I wouldn't mind
So
that.
a 1 year agreement and renew it for 4 years, if that's what the council wants to do.
Correct. And then I'd like to see what the results is when you look into it next fiscal year, and then we can discuss further. Thank you.
You got it.
Okay, and Council Member Shoemaker, go ahead.
Okay. I actually don't have a problem with having the 3 companies in the 3 years because we can terminate if or when we need to. And I think having 3 companies available to cover our needs versus 1 employee in the long run would be better, because there may be times when we're busier than others and the employee could get backed up and slow down the process. So I don't have a problem with having the 3 companies. I don't have a problem with the 3 years with an option to extend the agreement for additional 2 years. I know that's kind of usual in public contracting anymore because they can't be more than 5 years. The area that I have a concern, and this may concern you also, Mayor Pro Tem, is where on the agenda it says authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute future amendments to the agreements. I would not want that authority there, because if we get to the 30,000, I want it to come back to us so we can discuss why that's happening and make adjustments as needed. And also, if we don't like a company, I want that to come back to us also versus maybe the fire department gets overridden that this company isn't working well. And so that would give the ability to tell the city council that. So again, it's just a general principle for me that when it comes to decisions on contracts and things like that, the power through government is vested in the city council. And I don't want to muddy waters on which contracts have to come back to us, which ones don't. And I think we should be watching these.
I do believe that we discussed this last council meeting, that's the standard verbiage that's been on all of our recommendations. And per the purchasing policy of the city, we would have to come back to you if we were going to exceed any of these due to the policy of purchasing policy. We'd have to bring it back to you to be done. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, Councilman Casiano.
Thank you, Mayor. 2 points to clarify, one from the chief, one from our city managers. Chief, the applicants pay 100% of the cost, right? So is this kind of like a pass-through?
It's 100%, it's a pass-through, yes.
Okay, so it doesn't cost us anything. So money's not flying out of the general fund because the applicants are paying for it. Question for the city manager, kind of to Letty's point, just for clarification. I think I know the answer, but are we able to turn this into a profit center in any way, shape, or form, or must we charge exactly what it costs us internally to make it a wash?
Through the chair, state law requires that when council sets the fees, you recover cost reasonably borne in the provision of the service. So in this case, we're recovering costs, as state law provides. There is some latitude there for the city to add on overhead. We're not looking at this particular service bureau, this particular contract as a profit center. What we're hearing from the developers is they just want the service, and they usually want it yesterday. I know some area cities use county fire plan check. It's typically not described as a dream, I can tell you. limited hours, long response times. They put somebody in there that's on a IOD duty, maybe doesn't know what NFPA 13D is, et cetera. It gets to be a problem. In this case, historically, the city has handled this in this way, kind of as a service bureau. We bring in these experts or retired experts. 2 of these companies are county firefighters that are moonlighting. One is a retired deputy chief from Monterey Park, I believe. They seem to be all competent and able. We don't get complaints about anything except capacity, which is why we're recommending you add a 3rd company. I'm not sure how to answer the Mayor Pro Tem's question in terms of the time term. We've set these up as 3 with an option to extend for 2, but council's got myriad options here. If you want a shorter term, you're certainly welcome to keep this on a tighter leash. That's entirely your prerogative and would be, I'm sure, fine. We could return with it.
It's not like we only give them 1 year, so I think
And then they've got 15-day cancellation provisions. If we're getting any questions about poor service or whatever, number one, we wouldn't be sending plans to them. And secondly, we'd probably give a 15-day notice as this contract provides. This isn't a long-term marriage. It's if it works for us, it works for them and vice versa.
Okay, got it. Okay, and Mayor Pro Tem, you want to make an amended motion?
I just had one more question. Who currently does all the inspection services?
So right now we currently use M&K and PE Consulting. Those are the 2 that were approved by City Council the last time we came to Council to request agreements.
So then with this new contract, those 2 are no longer going to do the inspection services? We're only going to rely on one?
No, ma'am. We're going to be bringing on, the 2 of them do fire plan check consulting for us, and we're bringing on a 3rd consultant to do plan check. They just check our plans. They don't do any inspections for us. They don't go out and do any inspections.
Well, I'm just looking at the recommendations because number 2, it says fire prevention plan check and inspection services, and that vendor not to exceed $30,000, and the other 2 is not to exceed $15,000. So why is these other 2 $15 and the other one $30?
Well, as I said earlier, the reason that we wanted to do KJ Consultants 30 is they gave us better options. Is they no longer are requiring us to put them in the mail and mail them to them. They will come physically to the city of West Covina. They're giving us better service. They're telling them they will give us better turnaround. They have more staff to do it. So we're going to be more reliable on this new company who actually had better fee schedule for us as well. And all of them actually do inspection services as needed. The difference is inspection services related to plans as we do it ourselves. It's part of their plan. It's part of their fee schedule to do that.
I mean, I'd like to see this back. I know when I remodeled, I had to pay a lot for the fire plan and sprinkler and all that stuff. But I'd like to see this amended to 1 year because I'd like to hear what your thoughts on the next fiscal year to look into. And I wanted to see where they're at, how they've been spending, if we're exceeding that. I would like to remove number 5 to authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute future amendments to the agreements. I'd like to make sure that those amendments and agreements come to us. So I would like to motion this to amend those 2 things.
Just a quick clarification. I agree with you. I would just say we need to leave negotiate because they usually negotiate and bring it back to us. So just get rid of execute.
Okay, then remove
Sorry, I caught myself on that one when you said it.
Thank you.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and I have amended a motion regarding to the duration for year to year, right? Okay, and then we still keep the 15-day cancellation, termination, and plus we have a verbiage, amended, second by Council Member Shoemaker. Yeah, go ahead.
Just one question for clarification. If we're going to do that, Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado, did you also include bringing it down to 1? How many extensions? Do we want to give them 4 extensions to make it year to year and equivalent to where we're starting? So like 1 year with 4 one-year extensions? I just wanted to clarify that.
I mean, it's the yearly extension is okay to have that.
Okay.
But primarily for this, in this situation, I just want to make sure that we revise and look into all this.
Structure it.
And
Okay.
And look into
it. Put in the short leash. Okay, so in that way they can perform. Okay, go ahead.
Clarification for the city attorney. I believe we can only do the 1 year with the maximum of 4 1-year extensions, correct? So, well, I know.
No more than 5 years, but a year, 2 years, okay?
And so that's just the clarification on Councilmember Castellanos' question, and there is confusion. So regardless if we say 1 year with 4 1-year extensions and 5 years, we have to
extend, okay, no more than 4 years. Yeah, go ahead, City Manager.
I think we've been listening very carefully. We understand your direction. I'd like to ask that you refer this back to staff. Let us rewrite these contracts and bring them back the way you've directed, rather than try and rewrite them on the fly tonight. I'm more comfortable just getting them rewritten.
Do you want to continue this?
Put them back. I'll just take it off your calendar tonight.
You want to table this?
Please, we'll bring it back.
Okay, let's table this. Okay, and who's going to move the motion? Table this to the further discussion, so the city manager can amend it, retype the verbiage with city attorney to look into it. Okay, and talk to our contractors. Okay, and outsourcing, see what they say. Okay, and then we can put this together so they can accept this or not. Maybe they say no, or we want 2 years. Otherwise, take a hike. So we don't know. So I think table this is safer. Okay, and who's going to make the motion to table this to continue?
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Sorry, one more question. I just realized. All of the fees that comparable to the other cities, how is our fees? I mean, I don't want to burden our residents if we're just passing it to them anyways.
So that's one of the things that was on the agenda to do for us, is evaluate that, and actually that's something I have to do because I'm no way.
So
trying to find out where we are in the region. I think we're kind of low in some of our costs from other cities, and other cities are higher us, and some are lower than us. But we're on the lower end of what we charge. We currently have multiple plans to be sent out now that are waiting.
Yeah. So when you bring back next time, please bring the charge. So the resident or the people requested service, they know what they get into it. So we need to disclose, okay, and we choose fairness, okay, to charge people. Okay, so...
Mayor Wu,
go ahead.
When that comes back to us, can we just have a note on what the other cities in the region are doing?
We did municipal code change. We
do the comparison, right?
So when you do the comparison of the cost, that we actually see, okay, they have in-house, they use LA County Fire, they're using a specific company, like a consulting company.
We do the analysis, okay, with their charge, this we compare the service. So like typical contract that we approve. Can you do that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I like your answer. Okay, so now we move to, and the motion to continue by, I forgot who. So basically, Councilman Cassiano moved the motion to table this for the further discussion to get all the detail and comparison. And the second by Councilman Johnson. Roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos.
Aye.
Councilman Johnson.
Aye.
Councilmember Shoemaker.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado.
Aye.
Mayor Wu.
Aye, and the motion approved. Okay, table this for the discussion. 5-0 approved. And we move to agenda 9, 10, 11, 12, moved by Councilman Johnson. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I before I have a problem. You know what? These sign letters signed, and I have a problem because after the sign letters are signed,
you need to get your...
Yeah, after the sign letters are signed, our city manager gets 4 great to 4 employees. And I feel those 4 raises were given on the backs of these other employees. Now, the city manager can say they were in the budget. I do not believe they were in the budget, because if they were, he would have gave these raises before the side letters were given. So when he waited until after the side letters were given and gave the big raises, or if he would have did it before, I don't believe he would have got those side letters. So that's my comment, and I will be voting no on all 4 of these. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And so you okay, or you...
No, I will be voting no on all 4 of these because of that reason.
Oh, okay, and maybe... not quite understand. Okay, no. So
I believe the reason what my statement is, I believe I cannot accept. I'm not agreeing to these side letters. I'm voting no on them because I believe the city manager did this. He gave right after the side letter. Thing keeps cutting out. Well, after the side letters were signed, he gave 4 raises for employees. terrible, Mike. He gave 4 raises to 4 different employees, and I figured those raises were given on the backs of the employees that signed the side letters.
Okay, do you?
I will be voting no on them.
Got it. Do you want the staff to explain to us?
No. The city manager can say that it was in the budget, but I don't believe.
Yeah, would you please change the mic? This mic is not. You are. I can understand what you're saying. Just state.
Oh, this better?
Oh, much better. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. No, I believe that these raises were given on the backs of the employees that signed the side letters. So I cannot accepting these side letters. So I will be voting no on them.
So many you say, okay, all this settlement because some people get a raise?
He gave 4 big raises after the side letters were signed. So I believe that the raises were given on the backs of the employees that signed the side letters. So I will be voting no on it because I honestly believe that.
4 employee or?
4 different employees got 4 big raises after these side letters were signed.
Are they the manager or they are the? I don't know anything about this, but okay, who are those people?
Well, there were 4 raises given to the police department. There were 4.
I don't think today.
Captain.
I don't think today we have any.
Mr. Mayor, what I'm saying is that I don't believe those raises because when you give a promotion, you get a big raise with it. And
I got it. You're talking about the police promotion because we have a vacant for. Oh, I got it. Okay, the captain, but that has nothing.
What I'm saying is that my honest feeling is that I believe these promotions were given after the side letters were signed. So you can say that it was in the budget to give these raises and to these promotions, but I don't believe it because he would have did it before the side letters were signed. He waited till after the side letters were signed, and then he gave the promotion. So I will be voting no on all 4 of these.
I understand you want to vote no, but this 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 group is not the police. This is a non-swarm, and this is from our public work. Okay, it has nothing to do.
No, yes, sir, I do agree with what you're saying, but the money saved from all these other unions given back was the money that I felt that was used to give these promotions with the raises.
I'm not trying to discuss or argue with you, but my understanding is, okay, when the Captain Bell become the chief, we have no captain, and we have a budget for the captain, so we have to promote one. And I think they choose one to be promoted. And then when this lieutenant become the captain, then other people will go up. With the budget is the same. It's just because you have a vacancy, because you have 2 vacant captain. Right now we only fill in 1. We speaking to we save 1. Okay, of that have nothing to do a promotion. Okay, this is just people. Okay, and we missing. Okay, the position, and we need to fill it up because otherwise we have no captain. 2 captain right now is gone. So we have to go 1. Okay, and have somebody to captain. Okay, so this is and the budget is already there. So this is why my understanding. Okay, maybe the HR want to. Okay, say because has nothing to do with this 4 group. I think this 4 group willing to settle with city. I just want to thank them. I just want to really appreciate. Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Helen Tran. I'm the HR Director. The issue Councilmember Johnson brought up is a separate matter from the negotiation. That is a process through the recruitment and selection process. That is not part of the negotiation. So that
that's why my understanding has nothing to do with this 4 group. This 4 group has nothing to do with the police internal promotion. And again, the police internal promotion is just we have a vacancy and people go up. Okay, because the chief, the captain become chief, and then lieutenant become captain, and then other people will take over the vacant position. Right? So
correct. That is correct. That is just fill a vacancy.
I know because I have business. Okay, somebody left, and I have to fill it in by somebody internal promote rather than have somebody from helicopter. Thank you so much. Okay, do you have, okay, so you say no. Okay, got it. Okay, do I have a motion to?
I have a question.
You have to raise your hand. Okay, go ahead.
I'm behind you. How am I supposed to?
I cannot see that.
Exactly. Okay, so I just wanted to add some clarity here. I understand Councilman Johnson's point. And his point is that, yes, in our budget, we originally talked about having a captain. And what happened in this situation is there were 4 promotions within the police department. And 1 to a captain, 1 to a lieutenant, 1 to a sergeant, 1 to a corporal, if I'm remembering the social media blast and my email correctly. And the point is, when we, well, I can't say we because I voted against it, when the majority of the council approved the tentative budget in June, it was with the understanding that it was a tentative budget. COVID was just a couple of months old. We didn't know what it was going to do to our financing. We shortly thereafter started negotiating with all of our employee groups about cuts. And when he says it's on the backs of these particular employees, what he's saying is here we are negotiating takebacks from all of our unions, yet we give these promotions at a cost that exceeds quite a few of these reductions. That how is that fair to them? So I understand what you're saying with that, and I happen to agree that there should have been a discussion with council before we made these type of changes, and in 2 of them, if I remember the pay structure correctly, it would be a significant increase in salary. So I do think the timing was ill-advised when we are doing cutbacks, that maybe there should have been a discussion on the staffing and positions within the police department. But I can't vote against these agreements because they've been negotiated with these unions, and we do need what they've been willing to give back to us, or suspend for the 6 months. So that's where the 2 issues cross. And again, I agree with you, Councilman Johnson, that the timing was ill-advised, but that doesn't change that these contracts have been negotiated with these groups. We've had them on the table for a couple of months now. They have legal counsel. They've signed them. And I have no reason to not vote for them.
Very good. Thank you so much, Councilman Shoemaker and the council. But again, I want to save the money too. I think I discussed with city manager. I said, can we don't have a captain? Okay, but the answer is, okay, for the structure, for the healthy of our police department, okay, we need to have this rank and file with this structure. So you have a chief, and then you have a captain, then you have a lieutenant. Okay, I think this is how, okay, the police department runs smoothly. Okay, I'm with you. I don't want to spend extra money. Okay, but okay, I understand, okay, how to keep our police department healthy. And when you have 2 vacancy of a captain position, okay, and now we only fill out 1. So meaning, okay, in case, okay, if when our chief go to some other, okay, event or something, then that captain can step in to help out. So I think this is how the structure. I understand the corporate structure. Okay, so I really don't have any issue, any problem with okay, and I just received the promotion. I don't know how they choose, but this is what internal of the police department and the city manager's right to decide what kind of people, what person is the best for the job. So anyway, I have no problem with that. Okay, and other than that, any people you have? Okay, go ahead, Mayor Porton. Do you have any want to talk? Okay.
No, well, I do agree with the timing. In at work, what they would do with us, especially in 2008, 2010, is that they did a hiring freeze. People were put in acting positions. Though that acting position was a very long time, the acting pay was still less than the full amount. But I just wanted to, consider that for future stuff, especially when we are in a tight budget. But other than that, I I am thankful for all these groups that did go forward with this, and that's about it. Thank you.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve, okay, all these 4 groups willing to settle with city?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion approved, the agenda 9, 10, 11, 12, okay, from Councilman Cassiano. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado, and roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos?
Aye.
Mayor Johnson?
Who? Mayor Johnson.
Councilman Johnson, excuse me.
Former mayor, okay.
No.
Okay.
Councilmember Shoemaker?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado?
Aye.
Mayor Wu?
Aye, and a motion approved 4-1. Okay, I want to show my appreciation for all these 4 groups, okay, willing to settle with the city. And I understand, okay, some of them haven't have a raise for a long time. And I mentioned to, okay, and our HR, okay, if budget permit, okay, hopefully we can help those people working so hard and working, okay, for us for a long time. And we need to give them some of a fair share. Okay, I think this is something is okay, and fairness to those, okay, people working really hard for us. So I think this is something, but I really want to appreciate and that all this group share with our city current situation. And yes, I agree, okay, maybe acting this and that, but okay, sometimes, okay, the corporate okay, thing we need to let the very important department protect and serve our residents to run smoothly. So because, okay, we depend on them. So anyway, thank you so much. And that moved on the, okay, public hearing. Thank you, Helen. Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Okay, and on this agenda number 16, consideration approval of agreement for energy system upgrade project. Okay, and the matter set for public hearing is for the consideration of approval agreement with Alliance Building Solution Incorporated, okay, energy performance contracting service at various city facility. And the city clerk, okay, verify the proper legal notice has been given.
Verified, Mayor.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, at this time, I shall open the public hearing on the consideration of approval of agreement with Alliance Building Solution Incorporated energy performance contracting service at various city facility. Mr. Carmody, City Manager, who will present the staff report.
Good evening, Mayor. I'm going to ask our Assistant City Manager to introduce this item, then we've got some other representatives here to give some more detailed explanations.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I will, as the City Manager said, do a brief introduction, some background. The city released a request for proposal on June 3rd. On June 26th, we received 4 proposals. All of those were evaluated, and Alliance Building Solutions was deemed the most competitive. The project goals, I think, are important to keep in mind. We looked at solar panels, as well as alternative energy leasing, upgrading HVAC systems, remote sensing, and most importantly, to assure that the cost savings were there, which is how this project is funded. As we improve the efficiency of the systems, that's where the cost savings comes from. We are doing improvements at 9 different facilities, a variety of parks, the city yard, and 3 fire stations. The project financing, it is for 20 years at a maximum rate of 4.15%. The cost of the improvements is a little over $2.8 million with interest over 20 years. That's $4 million in total cost. The anticipated savings over 20 years, which is, again, in the terms of cost avoidance, is almost $5 million. And then individually, there are 67 projects at the 9 locations. With that brief introduction, I'd like to now turn it over to Alliance Energy Team. We have 3 individuals here, Brad Chapman, who's the president, and then he's brought with him Chris Fall and Frank Gill, and I'll turn it over to Brad to go through the details of the project.
Thank you, Mayor Wu, Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado, Council, Mr. Carmody, and Mark. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Brad Chapman. I'm actually the principal of Alliance Building Solutions, and we really look forward to working with the city on this important project. We're what's called an ESCO, Energy Services Company. All of our business is with public agencies in the state of California. And this is what's known as a performance contract. So what we're doing is we're addressing deferred maintenance needs, items within the city that the city is going to have to repair or replace in the next couple of years anyway. And the way that we do this is through savings. So there's no general fund cost or no capital up front from the city. All of this is paid through savings, and then we put a guarantee to that. So we tell the city that the cost of the capital that's being funded will be paid through savings, and if it's not, we make up that difference. So I'll go through the slides fairly quickly. I know you guys have a long night, and any questions I'll be glad to answer. So after we do a site, we send a team out, we site walk, we walk every single one of your sites, and we look at anything that has an energy conservation savings to it, and if that'll work in a savings process. So the first thing we do is we build a baseline, so we know how every one of your buildings is operating, what the cost of that building is. We have a huge database. We compare that to other city buildings that we've done in this area, if they're costing more than they should or if they're costing less. We also meet with staff. We've been involved with the city now for almost 3 years, numerous meetings with staff members on what is costing them their time, their operation and maintenance time, unfunded warranties, things that they would really like to get out of this project. So the next slide is the scope matrix. This is really every energy conservation measure that we found that will self-fund, and then every city building that we're going to do work on. You'll see there's interior and exterior lighting, there's mechanical equipment, so heating and air conditioning, there's building controls, so we'll operate your buildings a little bit differently, and we have building envelopes, so we're going to do some new cool roofs. You have some bad leaky roofs, we're going to fix those. We're going to put solar renewable energy in, as well as new transformers at 9 different sites, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but those will give those buildings a little bit better power quality. Do you need one of these? I do, yes.
Yeah, you should give that.
You should give, to all the councils.
I thought they were in your I apologize.
No, the last slide was a little hard to read. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
You did, like you said, you're doing roofings, right? The roofs?
Yes.
I know our fire station needs that.
So we're replacing heating and air conditioning. We're doing about 31 units at a total of 6 different sites total. The nice thing about these projects is we get to work with staff and consider what they would like. So it's what kind of equipment they're used to working on, what has the best maintenance, what has the best warranties, and your staff really worked well with us on picking that equipment. These are some real pictures. I will commend your staff. They've done a great job. Most of your equipment is over 25 years old, which is past the useful life of air conditioning. They've done a very good job of keeping it running the best they can. We're doing indoor and outdoor LED lighting upgrades, approximately 600 exterior fixtures, almost 7,500 interior fixtures and bulbs, as well as almost 200 occupancy sensors. So obviously when you walk into a room, light will go on. When you leave the room, the light will go off. They're saving more money. We're doing a control system. We're putting smart stats at 6 of your sites, and these will be set stats where staff can log on to a smartphone or an iPad, see how things are running. When somebody leaves the room, the arrow will turn down. When they come in the room, the arrow will turn up. And then at the Civic Center, Police Station, City Hall here, we're actually doing a full EMS optimized energy management system. So that can be monitored 24/7 from anywhere your maintenance staff needs to monitor it from. If there's going to be an event on a Saturday, they can turn things up, they can turn things down. So it's a pretty nice system. We're doing building roof replacements at 2 of your sites with new cool roofs. Those will come with 25-year warranties, so staff will not have to deal with those buildings for the next 25 years. We're putting in I think we got out of sequence here. Are you? Oh, you are on solar. Okay, perfect. We're putting solar at 4 sites, almost a megawatt here at this area, which includes if my bearings are right, is that the roof, the parking structure this way? The parking structure with the real old wooden light poles, we're putting a solar canopy over that. We're going to replace all those old wooden, we're going to get rid of those and put new light fixtures in and make that really modern and nice looking and safe. We're also going to put solar at Cameron Park, the city yard, as well as what we just talked about at the Civic Center and the Senior Center. Then we're going to be putting transformers at 2 sites, 9 new transformers at 2 sites. You've got really, really old transformers, which creates a lot of power outages, quality issues, so those will all be replaced. And then we're doing a kind of an upgrade remodel at Shadow Oak Recreation Center. We're going to do all new park lighting there, and we're going to put in a new bathroom with 2 stalls, a nice little canopy, and run water and power to that. So as Mark said, the program itself is about $2.8 million that'll be financed. That plus the financing fees, that'll all be paid for by savings. And after you get all the new equipment and the project's paid for, you're still going to save almost $900,000 more than what the project was funded at through savings. The last slide is oh, you beat me to the punch. It was a little project benefit slide, and sometimes these are nice for constituents or people in the area. We have a chart that talks about, the trees you'd be saving or the cars you're taking off the road and CO emissions and all that you're saving by doing a project like this. So I know that was fast, but I know it's a late night for you guys. So is there any questions? I'd be more than happy to answer those.
Hey, go ahead. Okay, Councilman Casiano.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a question on the power purchase agreement. How does that work exactly?
Yeah, so typically what we do with municipalities is we always look at solar both ways, a power purchase agreement and a straight purchase or a finance. The problem in public agencies and why almost all of them go with a power purchase agreement is you're not entitled to any of the tax credits. So if you were to purchase this through the traditional financing route, it actually doesn't cash flow very well, because what happens in a power purchase agreement is we'll go out to investors. They'll take those tax credits, and in lieu of getting those tax credits, they'll lower the price of your power. We've actually locked in a very competitive rate for you, and I want to make sure nobody from Fontana is sitting in here. We just got them a 13-cent kilowatt power with a 2.5% escalator. We got you guys a 10-cent power with a 2% escalator. So it was a super competitive PPA. So really what that is that someone else is going to own these solar panels for the next 20 years, which is good because they'll insure them, they'll warranty them, they will take care of them. In lieu of that, you're going to pay them for the power they produce instead of Southern California Edison. We only size those to 90% of the capacity, so we never overcharge you. So you're not going to overdo your solar and then also have an electric bill on top of that. Your electric bill, your blended rate right now is about 23 cents, so we're taking down these sites to about 10 cents.
Can we purchase them for cheap at the end of 20 years?
Yeah, so at the end of 20 years, and I'll look into the contract with you, David, typically what's written is you can re-up the PPA for an extended number of years. You can buy it out for market rate, which I'll just tell you that no solar provider wants to come and tear these out, so you're in the negotiating chair at that point. And that's what we actually do, and part of our business model, and I can give you some examples, I can email them, but we force all of our PPA providers to give a 6 or a 7-year buyout option, which we did for you, because a lot of times what we can do is come back to a public agency at the 7th year. Now all the tax credits are expired, all the depreciation is taken, so they kind of got what they wanted out of it. And if the rates are still competitive, we can actually refi you at that point, make you an owner at year 7 for far cheaper and actually save more money for the rest of the term.
Yeah, I'd like to make sure we figure that out.
Oh, we absolutely will monitor that.
But thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any council members? Okay. Okay. Yeah, you have to scream. Okay. Can I see you? Okay. The council member Shoemaker.
He's a little mirror.
Yeah, I know. I have to see you right here.
Anybody shocked that I have questions? Okay, I will have to admit that I got a high heart rate warning on my watch when I was originally reviewing this when I saw the interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
And in coming from an organization who got a 0% interest rate and purchased them to see leasing for 20 years and 4.158%. Just no. No, that's not going to work for me. I will not approve something with an interest rate that high. I want to look into more of the models of us actually purchasing them and what the rates would be to finance that way versus leasing for 20 years. One of the reasons when I was going through this process before that we wanted to purchase them is because then 20 years from now or 10 years from now, when technology has changed and maybe they're not as efficient and there's better ways to provide electricity, we weren't tied into a contract for 20 years. We could get out of it and not owe money or have to answer to anyone. We also did not like the fact that at the end of 20 years, we really have no say on what they're going to say is fair market value for the solar panels and all of that. So I want to do this because I do believe that there are energy savings to be had, especially in buildings that we have that are old and not energy efficient to begin with. But I would like a little bit more research done into this, and instead of getting a staff report with a recommendation, we get information on the different options available to us and let the council go from there.
So a couple things. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So a couple things. The interest rate is on the energy piece only. So the financing is only on your transformers, your air conditioning, your lighting, that piece. The power purchase agreement, the solar, that's what you're getting at 10 cents with a 2% escalator, which is far more competitive than what Edison has. So that's separate. So the 4.15, and Frank, our finance guy, can answer this better than me. So there's been a ton of research into this. And so what we do when we finance is we actually go out to a lot of different community banks, and we try to find the most competitive rate. There's a couple factors with West Covina. Number one, it's a 20-year financing, so it's a longer financing that causes the rate to go up a little bit. The credit of the city was a little bit of a challenge. That caused the rate to go up a little bit. The final thing on this is it's a municipal lease purchase. You guys, the collateral is basically the equipment. You're not having to put any buildings up as collateral. And the total fees that the city's paying to get this financing in place is $10,000. So if you compare that to what you've done in the past and the exorbitant amount of fees or having to collateralize all your city streets, you take those factors out. So if we were to do a traditional financing, and Frank, I'll have you come up, the fees will go up probably more towards $75,000 or $100,000. You'll have to collateralize a building for 30 years, which I don't think the city wants to do, all to maybe get a rate down towards about 3.5.
I would like to see the different options instead of being provided a foregone conclusion.
Okay, okay, go ahead. Okay, Councilman Johnson, you have a question. Go ahead.
No, it's not a question. It's more of a comment. I remember talking to the gentleman about almost 3 years ago.
Yes.
When he first came to the city, and we went through. I think at the time, it was Councilman. We talked to you guys about it. And I was very impressed at that time. And I'm still very impressed. I think this is what the city needs. We need a way to cut our electric budget. And I think this is a great way to do it, and energy savings, and get our roofs repaired and get stuff like that. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm all for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Johnson. And Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado, go ahead.
It's not necessarily a question. It's asking if it's possible. I know was it last year or something, I put in a Mother May I council request in regards to lighting at the parks. I wanted sensor lights so that I know residents who live near the parks have issues with transient staying there, or it's just too dark, the safety. So I wanted to see if that could be implemented part of this project, especially like the parks that has the canopies, or just any area that just sensors so that residents or everybody would see. Is that something that could be part of this project?
So, and Chris, I don't know what you have in parks, so I'm going to bring our lighting expert up. So the struggle with projects like this is for state legislation, savings has to pay for the project before the useful life. That's why you'll see what's in here. There's certain things that we probably tried to get in, we couldn't. Your park rates are extremely low. Edison has you very low on those rates, and I would not call them and say anything, and I would leave them alone, which makes it a struggle to replace those. They didn't pay for themselves in the time frame. However, what I can do, because I know we're given some time to look at other financing options, what I can do is go back and find out exactly what the cost of that would be, and see how much of that we could fit in left in the project for savings and how much would be left over. And if there was a capital contribution or a funding source for that, then I could definitely make it work. But if anything, what I can do is at least put a cost together at those parks. There's not, how many were there, Chris, that we didn't touch?
Some of the parks don't have any lighting sources at all.
Oh, so that's power and putting poles up and everything. Oh, yeah,
I figured if it's solar, just direct solar on top of the canopies.
Yeah, well, so, yeah. Let me just talk with Chris about it and see what power sources on you and I can talk. Yeah.
Okay, you done? Okay.
Colorado Park's one of them.
Okay, Councilman Casiano?
Thank you, Mayor. And about the interest rate, that's currently just a ceiling on the rate, correct? But we are shopping it?
Certainly. We're looking at all options that might be available to the city with respect to the financing. We think because we've already added more ornaments to the Christmas tree, to put a point on it, the new bathroom in the park, there is going to be a requirement for a capital contribution so we can stay within the parameters in terms of what's done. We're going to be returning to you with a budget amendment to do that. We think we can pay for that out of the $1 million that was achieved from the pension obligation bond transaction and still be true to our balanced budget this year. We are shopping for a better rate, and Brad is painfully aware of that.
No, it's okay.
When we first saw this rate, we thought somebody should go to church, get down on both knees, and ask for forgiveness because we just did a $204 million transaction at 3.72 taxable. So we are shopping with a number of institutions right now. One local institution, Cathay Bank. We like to support our local institutions whenever we can. They've got a division or a bureau that specializes in municipal transactions, and so they're talking to us, and they'll have a final price to me a week from today. I spoke with them today, and they're pretty confident as of today that they can beat this price. So now that we've got one, we can find a better one. We've also got the team from Hilltop Securities. You'll remember that was the underwriter that did the POB transaction for us. They might require an asset pledge. Last time we pledged the streets, which was novel. I'd done it once before, but it's not an everyday transaction. There may be some other city facilities that aren't pledged in the 2018 bond financing lease revenue transaction. But we don't want to wait forever. Point to be made, this has been pending for some time and we'd like to get going. And so we've told all these other institutions that we need a price from them in another week or so, and then we'll just pick among them and
thank
we'll
you,
look at
Manager.
total instant cost.
Got it. Okay. I listened to your pitch, I think 2-3 years ago. Okay, and with that time, Mayor Pro Tem didn't become mayor. Okay, and I think we listened to almost 2 times. And let's see, 2-3 years already, and we haven't done anything. And look at the old machine, the old transformer, the old AC, and nothing get done. Nothing continue to talk, continue to delay. And I think this is things should be done like 3 years ago. But due to the change of management team and then everything delay, and that's why now finally you come back, and present to the council. And I'm same thing with Councilman Johnson. I think we need to get this thing done ASAP. The reason is this because with the saving we have and the energy we using is very old machine. And they need to be updated. And I understand. And due to we using okay, and the fund, and we need to pay the interest rate, and I'm an interest rate guy, okay, hopefully we can get much lower interest rate. Remember last time, our fund liability, they talk about 4.1 and we got 3.7. So hopefully this time we can do the same thing. The cap at 4.1%, but hopefully we can get somebody with much lower interest rate. But this one I'm not too worried too much because this is $2.9 million. Compared last time we have a $204 million. That is an increment of interest rate that go to the sky high of the money the taxpayer have to pay. So this one I just want to get this done. Hopefully we can get all this roof or fire station and this old thing can be upgrade, and then we need to move on the 21st century. Okay, hopefully we can get this done. My question would be, okay, if we approve this, how soon we can start and get this construction going?
As soon as you get the financing in place.
And how long it takes for financing the money, and if we can get the financing end of this year, okay, for the underwriter to approve, we got this $2.9 million. Okay, how soon you can get this project complete with all this capital improvement, with all the leaking roof, because rainy season coming up?
I think actually my guess would be we'll probably be able to secure financing in the next couple of weeks, and you would start seeing something significant before the end of the year.
Before the end of the year, and how soon we can finish the project?
So in the contract, we have a year, and really that bodes more towards the solar. It's just how we get through permitting and through the fire department. The first thing you'll see immediately is all your lighting will start being done immediately, exterior and interior, and that'll be done probably in the first 3 months of the project. Mechanical will come after that, and right now it's just because of the delays in mechanical equipment. Mechanical equipment is like 8 to 10 weeks out. Then you'll start seeing all that. The transformers will go in. So a majority of your project you'll see done probably in the first 6-7 months, and the solar usually takes probably closer to 9 to 10 months to get done.
And the south side, Shadow Oak, all those lighting and the bathroom, how long that will be done?
The bathroom, our lead time that we were told on the bathroom was 12 weeks. We're trying to beat them up a little bit. Lighting will happen immediately. All the trenching will be done and the pad will be poured, and then we'll just wait for the bathroom to arrive.
So basically,
it's a modular.
Within 12 months, everything will be complete.
Everything will be done. The whole project will be done within 12 months.
Next year, okay, during the Mayor Lopez Viado, so everything will complete.
We will come here and give her the congratulatory. The project is done.
Yeah, hey, Alice, I want to break ground. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much. And any other city? Yeah, Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead. Okay, I'm sorry.
I just had a quick question. What is our city's current credit rating? I know you mentioned our credit's not that great, so.
Well, we have an A+ rating from Standard & Poor's. And so, in fact, one of the lenders was initially doing a lot of due diligence and scrutiny, and when I mentioned that, their stress level went way down. So it's A+.
So yeah.
It's A+, and why did he mention
yeah. So, but he's not the finance guy.
And it's not that rating. It's the insured rating.
Insured rating, not the city credit rating.
Yep.
Okay, the insured rating.
Insured rating.
I'm bringing him up now.
And the A+ was before we put everything on all of our streets.
That's exactly correct. Yep. So you guys have the insured rating. So when you guys went out with the trustees and the rating agencies, and you guys have pledged your collateral, you also got insurance that said that the full faith and credit of the city, the insurance company backed that up to give you the investment grade credit rating.
Yeah, for all the equipment, everything we install.
So
okay, Casiano, yeah, go ahead.
Just to clarify, do we know what the future fair market value of the solar will be? Can we pre-negotiate that to be like $1 per panel or something?
I can. Let me get with Blackstone, GE is who's doing the PPA for us on this, and I know we've done that in the past. Let me review that contract with Mr. Carmody, and let me see what I can get done for you on that. If we can have a set price, typically yes.
Perfect. Yeah, because I've done that before. Where
absolutely.
And another question, follow up. Okay, do we need 20 years? Can we cut down the time to like 15 years or 10 years? Because lower the term, shorter. Okay, lower the interest rate, and we pay less interest because right now we're paying $4 million for 20 years. But if you cut down to 15 years, you pay off your home much faster because you pay a lot more to principal. So yeah, go ahead.
It's for cash flow purposes. And so the statute allows you to finance as long as the useful life of the equipment is up. And so to make this a budget neutral project, or actually a little bit cash flow positive for your general fund, that's why it's stretched
So
out.
in that way, we can every month, every year, we have the saving on the money we pay interest. Basically, saving from the energy pay for itself.
Yeah, so
I still remember 2 years, 3
Yes,
years.
yeah.
You told me the saving of the energy, we pay the electricity bill right now, and then with this, the interest and the monthly payment, and then we're still saving like $60,000 a month, something
Absolutely.
like that.
Yep.
Got it. Okay. Go ahead.
Just like our LED lights in our streets.
Yeah, and I love the LED light. Everybody like it. Okay, so that's why we want to do it. So, if no any other question, who want to move the motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move the motion.
Okay, I have Councilman Johnson move the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a second. My Councilman Casiano, roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos?
Aye.
Councilman Johnson?
Aye.
Councilmember Shoemaker?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado?
Aye.
Mayor Wu?
Aye, motion approved 4-1. Get it done, and I want to see all those improvement.
You got it. Thank you very much.
Okay, I want to break ground. Okay, hurry up. Thank you. Okay, and go to agenda number 17. Okay, and number 17. I got it. Okay, item number 17. Okay, and a request for consideration from Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado, requesting the staff to research and provide a recommendation regarding the California Citizen for Local Control Initiative. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Lopez, do you want to take over?
Yes, I know we get a lot of complaints from the residents about which the city and council has no control of. And I know we've had residents who says, our control is getting less and less and less. And so when I saw this, and I know one of the council person in Torrance is leading this, it's not necessarily the just rent control. It's managing land use, zoning issues. So, since I've heard residents say that they want to keep local control, and this is just a start of it. It actually gives the citizens back their local control.
Councilman Casiano.
Oh, I was just saying, just to piggyback on what Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado was saying, a recent hot one of this year is the ADU issue, when the laws passed at the beginning of this year that made the rules really, really flexible. So it's a good example of what keeping local control is all about.
And not only that, they even allowed the residential R1 zoning to build condo. Okay, that is scary for a lot of residential area, because the state sometimes they do a lot of things and doesn't want our local input. So, and I already received a letter from Torrance City Council, send me I already provide to city managers. So do we need to vote on this to approve, or should we just?
It's my intention to return on the next agenda with the resolution, the template resolution that they gave us.
Very good. Okay, so we need to put this agenda, put the resolution, and then, the city council to vote on it. If we got the majority, then we will say West Covina City want to, and support, Torrance City Council regarding the, take the local control initiative. Okay, and we're moving to the last item. There will be what the heck? AB 1234 conference and meeting. Of course, we don't have.
Through the chair, Mayor, can we get a vote on item number 17 to bring it back?
We have to vote on this because you say you're going to bring back. Yeah, I don't think we need to vote because city managers will bring back next agenda. Do we need to vote? No, right? No, because my understanding. This is a request, and the city manager will send back so we can vote next time. Okay? Hey, I've done this 5 years. I'm professional now. Okay. I love it, Tony. Okay, I love you too. Okay. So anyway, let's go to the city council request for report and study. I think. Casiano. Councilman Casiano, you go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got a council member's request to request staff to initiate and expedite the process of bringing building and plan check back in-house and assess a new internal hierarchy to suit our development needs for everyone. I also have a second request, which we discussed earlier, and that's also kind of to our caller earlier, Celeste. She had a question about how our Foothill Transit dollars are being used. Our Go West shuttle service, as I brought up previously and as we've discussed here before, is not very efficient. We've got a lot of phantom buses, so as the contract with them approaches expiration, I'd like to request them to come up with some novel solutions and better ways to deploy those funds for the benefit of our residents. And Celeste and anybody else listening, please, if you'd like to email us suggestions, we'd be happy to hear them to see if we could brainstorm a better solution for our residents.
On your second request, I think we need to have Go West come back to, because the contract almost expired, to make a new route. Okay, because the route, I understand it's pandemic, but look like it's always empty. Yeah, not working, people didn't use it. Okay, so how can we know this is from restricted fund, it's not from general fund, but still you don't want to see waste of taxpayers' money, even it's not from our general fund. We want people to utilize, maybe we can promote, or they can come out with some of a new route to make it more popular, maybe hopefully the malls open, maybe the south side, so they can kind of go to mall, so for people, or supermarket, so people can, the senior can utilize to go to shop and buy their groceries. So anyway, and nobody against this request? Okay, go ahead.
The last council meeting, was it Go Transit that we had to talk to them in regards to the routes? Because I know I did push for them, and I said once that contract is over, they need to change the routes completely, because they did mention that it's outdated because of new developments that occurred. They didn't take that into consideration. So that was
correct.
Okay.
That's why we request them from the Councilman Casiano to have them to bring the new routes. So we, in that way, we can discuss and want to renew the new contract with them.
I know on that council meeting, it was Mike Cressup, I mentioned a lot of things, so
yes,
hopefully he'll consider all those things.
Yes, so we want to be more efficient for utilize this public transportation, okay? And if nobody against Councilman Casiano's request?
I'm not against it, but I would like to add on to it, because we're constantly talking about the Go West shuttles not being full and everything else. And with schools out especially, I mean, some of the students who would have used it aren't using it. So this may be more of a staffing request. I would like to look at other options for providing transportation for our seniors. I mean, it could be we can use transportation funds, I'm assuming, to buy our own shuttles and maybe run them out of the community center for our seniors, or vouchers. Maybe Foothill Transit doesn't have enough vouchers. We get vouchers for people to use the buses. Just some creative ways to actually make this money work for our residents.
Okay, Council Member Shoemaker request to amend it or to add on is the additional option beside the Go West. What we can help with all, not only the senior plus the student plus the people don't have a transportation or they don't want to drive their car. So what kind of transportation we can provide for them? I know we try to work with Lyft. Okay, I think during our time, right? And we try to work with the Lyft. Okay, for not only the senior plus the student. Okay, and then we even work on the. I think you. Okay, Councilman Shoemaker lowered the. I think that right for to 50 cents. Okay, so what we are trying to do is how we consolidate, our mass transportation, our city to fully utilize, so hopefully more efficient. I understand right now, it's pandemic, a lot of people just scared to use the, confined space. But again, this is just prepare and we can discuss. So, any other requests?
Just another quick example. my boyfriend's mom is in a retirement community. And so they have negotiated rates with Uber and Lyft and even taxi companies that they get a flat rate where they'll take her all the way from Encinitas to San Diego for doctor's appointments. And it's like $10 versus, $50 that it would be normally. So looking for our transportation funds to somehow work with that or make it available. And so I think we've been clear on what we're looking for.
Yes. Okay. I think. Okay. I think there's two issues. Okay, and one is the Go West. The contract's going to expire. What they're going to provide the new route. So this is one issue. Okay, because right now they're driving empty bus all the places. Doesn't seem is efficient. Okay, pretty wasted. Okay, and the next issue will be how the city to put the active transportation plan in the city, utilize all different kind of our this restrictive fund and grant to utilize, maybe using Lyft, taxi, and anything to help people to move around. Am I right? Right. Okay, very good. So city manager, you got it. Mark, you got it? Okay, very good. Any other thing, city? Nope. So
make a motion is adjourned.
You want to continue? Councilman Johnson want to continue? No. So I want to make a motion. Okay, who want to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Mayor.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a good night and appreciate everybody watching and continue to be safe. Good night.